Hey guys, welcome to Box Office Addict, my weekly live stream podcast where I talk about the weekend numbers and have a free-form discussion with the chat. Box Office Addict, episode 73. That intro music is from Sharkfoot's first album, Sketchbook, which you can listen to on my channel. It's a collection of songs that he worked on for like 2 years, I think, roughly. A lot of them were songs written for videos that I had made or movies that we had worked on together, actually, was the funny thing about that. I think because we had written music together, Sharkfoot and I, we had written a musical at one point that was about 10 songs, I remember, and we've written probably, I don't know, like probably 5 songs, 6 songs together since then. A lot of these songs I didn't have a big hand in. He would just go and do something and then send it to me. And I'd be like, what the fuck? So, highly recommend Sketchbook, which he wanted to call Scratchpad, but I fucked up and didn't remember the title that he wanted. So I feel kind of bad about that now. Whoops. But that happens sometimes. So how you guys doing? I was trying to do this episode earlier, but the unfortunate thing that happened was that for some reason I kept getting that thing on YouTube with the monkey where this isn't working, so I couldn't get the fucking live stream to go. I mean, I've been fucking with this for like a half hour, 45 minutes. So that's been a little bit annoying. They're gonna force people to watch Captain Marvel Clockwork Orange style. I certainly hope not. The Ludovico treatment, isn't that what it's called? The Ludovico treatment? I would not like to go through that. I'd rather have my eyes ripped out. Where's Pat's boyfriend? Why not Launchpad? Goodness. Scratchpad had a very specific meaning to us personally. Where's Pat's boy? You mean Blood Money? Blood Money is not my boyfriend, please. I have higher standards than that, Raven. I don't appreciate you. That's so Raven. Holy shit, man, 73 episodes. I mean, we'd probably be at over 80 something now, wouldn't we? We'd be at almost 90 if I didn't take such long breaks. I guess Box Office Addict's on Monday now. Used to be Sunday, then it was Tuesday. Now it's Monday, because fuck it. I'm the most inconsistent person in the world. I apologize for that, but I'm not proud of it. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And I also love there's a movie called Climax. From the director of Irreversible and Enter the Void and all that. Yes, Ludovico. Could you do a live stream reaction of the Resident Evil Bad Dialogue Supercut? Maybe at some point. I do think I do need to do more reaction videos. I think that's like a strength that I don't play into. I remember back in the Patriarchy days, one thing I really loved was when I would shit on someone's video. Like the Superwoman video. When, Hanan Minhaj or whatever the fuck that guy's name is, Hassan Minhaj, when he did the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I broke down his terrible set. I miss doing that kind of stuff, like just attacking other YouTubers and their videos. These Monday shows are killing me, you bastard. Well, I am sorry, Fallen Angel. Hopefully you can keep falling into the pits of hell. You son of a bitch. You're lucky that I even talk and do this show for people like you, you disgusting pig fuck. I haven't seen Climax, even though I have the ability to. Madea, the comic figure America doesn't deserve, but needs right now. Your Superwoman live stream is epic. Yeah, I miss doing live streams like that. I miss those mean ones, where you just go after somebody. I think I have an acumen for that, but I don't do that. Okay, wait, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with OBS lately, guys. The mic's been cutting out and shit. It did that last week. Can't hear you vaping. No, it's working now. It should be working now, right? Yes, it's working. I don't know why it's been doing that. It happened last week. The live streams. There's sound right now, Casper. I can fucking see it on the OBS thing. Right there. Mic working. What the fuck is wrong with you? It says right there, I can see the thing working. The sound is back. Can't hear you vaping. Yes, that's better. I don't know why it's been doing that, guys. I have no fucking idea. OBS has been fucking up for me. I guess I need to update it. Yes, Green Book is still showing legs. I don't know what's been going on with the fucking live streams. There was that live stream that ended and then started over a few episodes back and became a separate stream. And then the previous the live stream before... Blood Money, I keep trying to call you and you won't fucking answer. And then I fucking try to, like, text you and shit, and then you show up at Box Office Addict. Like, what the fuck? Like, goddamn, dude. You're like that girl that won't fuck me or talk to me or text me, but you're still gonna post pictures on Facebook and you hope that I like them because you still want my attention. You just don't want to have direct contact with me. You fucking cock tease whore. I'm gonna come over and throw you in an oven. Take you back to the past. Madoutfire. When people prefer Tyler Perry just as Grandma instead of Captain Marvel. So Pat, you gonna get DMC 5, oh, Devil May Cry 5 for that talks to stylish masculinity instead of Carl Manverse? No. None. None of the above, to answer your question. But I don't know why OBS has been messing up. I assume it's something with updating. The mic went out for the last 2 minutes of the last live stream. And I didn't get to talk about Glass that week, even though I had like a 5-minute thing I had to say about it. I don't know, people. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Come on, man. Fuck yeah, man. That's me. Guess you need more box office addicts to trap your boy to. Well, the problem is I have to use the drug of the box office to get Blood Money's attention because he is an addict. He's addicted to many things, but the thing he's most addicted to is my voice and me and my presence. Thoughts on The White Ribbon? It's one of his better films, but it still sucks. That's my thoughts on The White Ribbon. Nice cinematography, though. Yo, Pat. Yo, Simple Jeremy. I can't wait to meet Complex Jeremy. God damn, Fallen Angel, where have you been? What asshole did you crawl up into and get lost in? What Lenny Winks adventure have you been on? You know, Bathory's moved on since you've been absent. She's moved on to other people. It's very upsetting. Like that girl, it takes 4 days to reply, but is constantly updating her socials. Yeah, that's Blood Money. Sums it up pretty well. Okay. Alright. Fallen, I don't appreciate you asking for the Shapiro voice like that. Alright? That's not cool. Okay. Alright, Fex. Alright, you should be buying Blue Apron right now. That's all I care about. You should be getting your new Blue Apron. It's a new month. Alright, March just started. You should be getting Blue Apron. It's only $2,000 a day. That's really affordable. Especially now to balance a checkbook. Alright, if you're good with your money, you have a good job, you know how to invest in things. Blue Apron's an investment. Alright? You put the money in. The food comes. It's already made. Well, it's not made, but they give you the stuff to make the food. And you just have to make it. It's great. Me and my wife, who's a doctor, we make the food. Great. In the future episodes of The Beef Stew, I promise that Ben Shapiro and Quentin Tarantino will have interactions with David Lynch. I can't wait for that show just to become a hack job, where we're just doing impressions for like 2 hours and we don't even talk about anything. I already have a second episode planned, but once again, I haven't been able to get in contact with Cunt Money. So it's been a little difficult. I want to discuss Jurassic Park. Why do you keep talking about this director that I hate? I don't even like Cachet anymore, and that was his best movie. Well, Funny Games I still like. You know, people say Elite is getting good word of mouth, but I don't think that's true. You know, everybody thinks every movie gets good word of mouth just because some people on the internet said they like it. My wife's a doctor. Alright, she's a doctor. Alright, I'm an expert. That's the weirdest thing, when people are like, look, some people on Twitter said they like Alita, and some people in a comment section, thus it's getting good. It's not getting good fucking word of mouth. At best, it's getting mixed word of mouth. You know, people said The Last Jedi had good word of mouth because it had an A cinema score, and the cinema score is scientific. Nothing has good word of mouth would mean better box office. So Alita's not getting that good. Mixed word of mouth. People don't hate it, but people don't love it. Let's quit this whole fucking myth that people like Alita. That secretly everybody fucking loves it. It's just bombing because. No, people don't love the movie. Some people like the movie. Some people don't like the movie, but it's not getting great word of mouth. People have been saying this to me for like the last 2 or 3 weeks on my channel or on Twitter. Like, hey guys, have you seen how fucking positive people are about Alita? Why is it not performing? Because people aren't that positive on it. You just like the movie, so you're under some kind of presumption that everyone liked the movie, and there's some cosmic entity keeping it from being successful. Cthulhu himself has come down from another dimension to show people that, no, you can't go see Alita, it's mine! And most people don't give a shit that Alita even exists. It had bad marketing. Let's get that out of the way. The marketing fucking sucked. That's the thing, everything is anecdotal. Box Office Addict isn't about your subjective feelings. Or anecdotal. Box Office Addict's about the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Okay, and Alita, domestically at least, is not doing great. So, I don't get where people are getting that from. Because he's James Cameron, and James Cameron does what he wants. That's why James Cameron's still making those Avatar films. Yeah, Alita is a niche property, I agree. I mean, it's a multifaceted equation, as we like to say. There's a lot of reasons Alita's not doing great. But I would not say that the movie has great word of mouth or that people are loving it, as people try to claim. I don't see that. Well, yeah, Bill Pope's amazing. Bill Pope's a terrific DP. Shot the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, yeah. And the Matrix. Let's not forget he shot the fucking Matrix. Facts don't care about your feelings. Okay, facts. All right. Terrific job on the Matrix, by the way. I don't know if it's the eyes or anything. I think it's a lot of things. I think the title, Alita Battle Angel, isn't appealing to many people that aren't inside of an anime sphere. I don't think people know the property that well. Rocky Horror Picture Show is both good and bad, but I've already talked about it extensively before, and I don't really feel the need to go into it again. It's a movie with a lot of good things, and it's a movie with a lot of shitty stuff, and it's got pacing issues, but overall, I would say, on repeat viewings, I've enjoyed Rocky Horror a lot more. So I'll say it's good, but not great. Director of photography is what DP means. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. All right? The numbers don't lie. Now let me take a vape break. I said, God damn. God damn. All right, so before we get into the box office, I want to talk about a movie I rewatched last night that I haven't seen in a few years. I saw it originally in 2009 when it came out in the theater, and I loved it. And then I watched it again on Blu-ray when it came out, and then I watched it on television one day. And I hadn't seen it in, I want to go, I'd say 6-7 years. But I wanted to show it to Shewind last night because she had never seen it. She's into science fiction. So I'm going to talk about District 9, the debut film from Neil Blomkamp, the South Excuse me. The South African filmmaker who made a series of short films and was hired by Peter Jackson to direct a Halo movie. $100 million Halo movie that fell through. But then he was like, hey, you made this short film called Alive in Joburg. Do you want to make a feature out of that for $30 million and have way to special effects? And Blomkamp's background was in special effects. So he made the movie for $30 million. And the movie made like $115 million domestically. It made $200 million worldwide. Yes. Wild Smile and me are we were going to do a live stream this week. No, we watched The Matrix a few months ago, but she did enjoy that. So we watched District 9. It was also nominated for Best Picture. Now, my question was, would District 9 hold up? That was really starting to get to me. Would this movie hold up after I hadn't seen it for so many years? Because it's a weird thing. A lot of people hate that movie. For everyone I know who liked the movie, like I did when it came out, I know so many people that think that the subtext is too obvious, which that's a fair criticism. It wears its subtext on its sleeve about the apartheid and racism and so on. And a lot of people think that the film has a lot of the problems. It is preachy. A lot of the problems that were featured in Elysium and Chappie. It's just we didn't have those issues as much when District 9 first came out. Now, upon rewatching it, I have to disagree with the critics of the movie. I think District 9 still really holds up, and it doesn't have the issues that are featured in Elysium and Chappie. Because it has a big difference between those two movies, is that you actually care about the lead character, and there's emotion to that movie, and that's the biggest problem I had with Elysium. Even though Elysium's not as bad as people make it out to be, it's just kind of a B movie, and Chappie's kind of fucking horrible. And Neil Blomkamp, his biggest problem, he's just become repetitive. He keeps making the same movie. He needs to do something different. I don't mind him staying in science fiction, but he needs to do a different kind of story. He can't keep doing the same story over and over again. I'm worried RoboCop's going to be him repeating, because RoboCop was clearly an influence on District 9. So, but upon rewatching District 9, there's subtext. Yeah, I don't even know if it's subtext. I guess it's just text. District 9 still holds up, I think. And I know a lot of people wish the whole film would have stayed in that mockumentary format. After the first half hour, it stops doing that. That's the trick of the movie, is that it gets all this exposition out of the way by being a mockumentary, and then it just becomes a film at a point. and then it kind of goes back to the documentary format in the end. Spoilers, by the way, for this movie that came out 10 fucking years ago, which is crazy. It felt like yesterday. I was 19 when District 9 came out. What the fuck? I actually saw it after Elysium and Chappie. It is better than both of those movies. You didn't see the subtext, Raven? District 9's filled with it. It's completely about South Africa, what's going on, and what the aliens are. I don't think it degraded into an action movie. I think it just turned into a really good action movie, is my thinking. I would agree with you if it turned into like a dumb, bad action movie, but I think that it's a pretty goddamn good action movie in that last half hour. Yeah, he was going to do Alien 5. The thing that still works is that it's the character of Wickus. It's the lead character, and Christopher, the alien. The guy starts out as such a fucking asshole. He's just the schmuck. Like, the way that Sharlto Copley, who looks just like Spike Lee, by the way. What the fuck is with that? Why does that guy look like Spike Lee? South African Spike Lee. Not Spike Lee, Spike Jonze. Spike Lee's fucking do the right thing guy. Spike Jonze, the director of Being John Malkovich and that he's in Three Kings. Looks just like Sharlto Copley. They're the same fucking person. He starts off, there's that abortion sequence early on where he just fucking kills the baby aliens, and then they sets him on fire, and he's like, you hear that pop? That pop's great, you know? And I don't know what fucking accent I just did. It's as good as Leonardo DiCaprio, South African, in Blood Diamond. The beard's coming back. The beard was actually really long again. The beard was like getting down to here again. When Blood Money was visiting, I had a beard that was like this long, but now I'm back to... Although the stubble's coming in. The sexy stubble. What you want. Bitches love this. But that guy, yeah, he kills babies and he's just like, whatever, and he only gets a job through nepotism. That he's, you know, married to the head guy's daughter. The Pat avatar would block too much of the screen. That's where it's at right now. You're getting a live Pat avatar, motherfucker. So, yeah, the fact that it starts that way with that documentary format, and then he's so selfish, and that he has this humanity that comes in when he gets that black goo on him, that he starts to panic, and it turns into a body horror movie. Straight up. I mean, it is David Cronenberg-esque. It is Frank Henenlotter. You know, just like ripping your fingernails out, you know? Parts of your skin start to come out. It was really awesome rewatching it. I forgot how good that stuff is. The little clever details. That they like cat food. That the weapons are biomechanical, so the aliens are the only ones who can operate them. And the humans can't operate... the humans can't operate the weaponry. And the design of the weaponry, that there's clearly a lot of the Halo influence from the Halo movie, the guns and all that. And they're video game guns. I mean, there's that one gun that can just like pull all the bullets in and then shoot them back. It's badass. There's so many scenes in it that are bad. Because I think only because men can grow beards. That it's specific to men, and they have a variation of styles depending on the man and the kind of beard that he grows and how he chooses to shape the beard. I think is the thing about beards that are appealing, kind of like why we like tits, because women have them. Like, oh, you're a human, but you have these tits, so I want to play with them. So women probably like beards sexually, and because it's a masculine trait, because it's inherent to men mostly, is my guess. So District 9, yeah, he's a dick, you know, and he's a dick, you know. And then he reacts very, I think, realistically when this thing starts happening to him. He does anything he can to get back to the life he wants. He does whatever he can. And, you know, the fact that Christopher tells him, like, hey, I can cure you, but it's going to take 3 years. And then he just keeps fucking him over. You know, he knocks him out with the wooden board and takes the mothership. The whole movie's great because it builds to a third act of emotion, and not just action. I think it's an emotional third act, because really, what else are you going to do? It's about the military, or they're gonna come get this guy. They're gonna come get this guy, and so like there has to be an action climax. And they set too many things up. Like you don't put a fucking mech suit in a movie like that, and you don't not use the motherfucking mech suit. Like rule 101, don't put a fucking mech suit in a movie if you're not gonna use it. All right. So yeah, it changes though. It's a fashion thing. Like beards were out for a long time. People didn't like beards, and now beards are back. This is just how it fluctuates. You know, people were into tits, now they're into asses, and then it'll go back around to boobs again. Just give it time. You know, that's how it is. Things just fluctuate. I remember beards weren't popular when I was a teenager. Girls all liked like clean-shaven, feminine-looking men. It was the pretty boy era. It was the emo era. Men wore makeup. We were going back to hair metal, and now women are into beards and stuff like that again. So I think that's all it is. We just keep repeating. We go in a circle. Time's a flat circle, man. Everything you're gonna do again. But he's really selfish. But you would be selfish. I think most people would be selfish in that situation if you were turning into a fucking alien. Like, holy shit. Yeah, of course I've seen Laser Blast. Don't insult me. That's one of the best MST3K episodes. But the great thing, like, yeah, he's like, fuck, what a fascinating science fiction concept that you're turning into an alien. That's one of the best ideas in the movie, is that he's turning in, because it's the Fly, yes, but it's the Fly not in that tragic way, where the Fly's so beautiful because you really care about that relationship, and then at the end she has to fucking blow his brains out. At the end of the movie, when he becomes an alien, there's this, it's got one of my favorite last shots in a movie the last like 10 years, is that final shot of him making the flower. And he's just an alien now. I mean, that's a fascinating place that it ends up, because that's how he learns to have empathy for these aliens that he's burning at the beginning of the film. He has the empathy because he becomes one of them. There's a scene where the little alien puts its arms up, and Christopher's like, he likes you. And he's like, you're like me. And he's like, you know, I'm not fucking like you. And there's that awesome scene where they break into MNU, and it turns into like a fucking, yeah, it's a video game scene. And there's all these fucking, this is awesome action scene with him and Christopher, and they go into the room where all the aliens have been cut up and shit. Just a lot of cool stuff, like them making him shoot the guns and all that. They're gonna cut him up into pieces. But he, yeah, he keeps fucking over Christopher. He takes the ship, he knocks him out, he gets in the mech suit, you're about to get a badass action scene, and then he tells Christopher, he's like, hey, you can have the fucking prawn, just let me go. And that evil bad guy, 80s bad guy's like, run the fuck away, you coward. So then, you know, the guy runs off, he's gonna leave Christopher behind and all that. And then there's that moment in the movie where he stops in the mothership, which has been hovering throughout the whole film. Great idea, too, because when you establish the documentary aesthetics in the first half hour, you can keep the cinematography in that handheld style and keep the film looking a little dirty. So that way the CGI looks better because of it. It's a very clever trick that Blomkamp does with that film. And I don't think he's ever going to really be able to get away with it again. Is it makes everything... Well, reasonable selfishness, because if you're turning into an alien, you would freak the fuck out, and it's happening fast. I mean, over the course of like 3 days, he pretty much becomes an alien. So he starts to freak the fuck out, you know? Can you do a first watch of a movie without a critical point of view? The movie would have to be amazing. That can happen. That is actually what I would want to happen for me if I saw a movie, because that would mean that the movie's doing its job so well that I am not being so critical and looking for how it was constructed. I'm just enjoying the film. But that rarely happens for me. But the film, if a film is doing that, yes, it can happen, but that would have to be a great movie. Typically, I have a hard time doing that. I usually try to figure out the pieces of what led to a scene being well. That doesn't mean, though, I don't enjoy it. I appreciate it being analytical watching the film. I'm like, wow, you pulled this sequence off. That's always my thing, that I'm impressed with how they pulled it off and seeing the craft behind it. But if I'm not noticing the craft, to me, that thinks that the filmmaker did a great job. If I'm not paying attention to those things. But you'd have to make a great fucking movie. I mean, you know, and how often does somebody really make a truly great movie? I don't think very often. I think we have to wait for those. Just like a lot of art, you know. But there's that moment where he's like, he can't go home. He has to accept he can't go home to his wife, which is all he really wants. But he can get this guy home with his son. He gets that he can get this guy home, but he can't go back home, and he has to kind of accept that. And he's gone through all this shit. He's been tortured. He cut his own fucking finger off. He's at I mean, basically he's at the end of a story, you know? He can't keep running. There's really nothing he can do. And then he looks at that mothership and he's like, this guy can go home. I can get this guy home. That's a great little thing. That's a great little character arc and a great little moment. So then when he runs back, yeah, Taxi Driver was like that the first time I saw it, that I was just so invested in it, I wasn't paying attention to how it was going. I was like so enthralled. The first time you see Taxi Driver really is an experience that you can't get back because you don't know where it's going. So then he turns around and he says, don't make me go through all this for nothing. I'm going to get you back home. I'm going to get you to your boy. Come with me. And then we get this fucking awesome action scene. I mean, he shoots the fucking pig at a guy. He shoots a pig at a guy. Come on. He just blows people up. And Christopher gets back. The ship goes up. The mothership, it flies off. It's awesome. And Shoto, he's about to die. And then these aliens who now have the mothership there, they know what this guy did. And then they kill the bad guy. And then it's like, this is the last footage of this guy. We don't know where he's at. And then they go back to the documentary format. Because then they're showing us this isn't the whole movie is really, the trick of it is we're going to start showing you the documentary footage because this is a documentary about this guy, but then we're going to show you what actually happened, not what's been said, that he fucked aliens and all that. And then we're going to go back to the documentary at the end of the movie to wrap everything up. But then he goes back, and he goes back to help the guy, and it's just it really works. That shot of him looking up at the spaceship as it goes up and he's smiling. And one of his eyes is the alien eye, is the prawn eye, and the one eye is the human eye. One eye is the past, one eye is the future. That's just great cinema. It really is. It's really powerful. So fuck the subtext and the preachiness and the things that people don't like about it, because that's all fair. District 9 is just a piece of storytelling that a character, that he starts off not really caring about these things, even though he shows humanity. He doesn't want to kill these things, but he also is just trying to get ahead. He wants to be successful. He wants to make money. He wants to get his father-in-law to like him. And then slowly starts to care about these things, finding out how fucked up it is. He doesn't want to kill the prawn. He doesn't want to kill anything. That when they make him shoot that prawn, he doesn't like that what they're doing with the bodies of the prawns. And then at the end, he just wants to get this guy home because he can't go home. You can never go home, as they say. And just that it combines the aesthetics of video games and anime, that he's in a mech suit fighting all these guys, but there's an emotional investment and a character arc, and that the alien does, and that it leaves so many questions. Is Christopher going to come back, and is it going to be an alien invasion film? Is Christopher ever coming back? Did he just escape? Did he just leave this guy here to be fucked, who's probably going to be in District 10 now? All of that's great, because there's a lot of questions brought up in District 9, and a lot of them get really specific answers, but the questions that are left in the movie and the things that we still wonder about is just kind of adds to the genius of what it is. And just that last shot, her with the flower, and then he's just an alien now. That's a great little science fiction thing. At the end, he becomes another species. And he's existing at it, but he still has these memories and these feelings of the past. He still is who he is. And they don't need to explain the technology behind it, and specifically how it works. That he has to suffer to become a good person. That the suffering is important to his character. And that he plays this role, this guy who just gets involved with this, becomes the guy that's involved with like the most significant moment of history since the aliens arrived, is the mothership leaving. Really liked it. Still held up. Honestly, played better this viewing than it had for me probably the second and third time I watched District 9. This probably played the best for me since I first saw it in the theater 10 years ago, when I just loved it. Because I just was watching it last night. Maybe I was watching it through her eyes, which is why it's always great to watch a movie with someone who hasn't seen it before. But I just really felt emotional at the end when that ship leaves and when he's looking at it. And really tight movie, really tight screenplay, well made, well paced. And yeah, maybe it does become too much of an action movie and leave a lot of its more science fiction elements behind and some of its intelligence. No, the marketing was more about just kind of selling this documentary with them interviewing prawns and stuff like that. But District 9, still good. Still good. As far as I'm concerned. 10 years later, it's still good. It still holds up. It's still Blomkamp's like one really good movie. And it's upsetting that he hasn't been able to evolve those aesthetics and ideas into greater works. He's one of the modern disappointments for filmmakers, because District 9 is a really good debut. There's a lot of things that are problems with it you kind of forgive, because it's like, well, hey, it's his first movie. It's the first time he made narrative feature, so he'll get better. And he just got worse and worse. So that's unfortunately, I guess it was just serendipitous. Yeah, it was a good original movie. Oh, Spike Lee, not even close. It is rare. Yeah, it's rare that it's been 10 years and we haven't got many original films since District 9. And that Neil Blomkamp kind of kept fighting the originality. You know, maybe he should have stopped making science fiction mech South Africa movies with this subtext. Maybe he should have just said, okay, now I'm going to go make a different genre, but use these aesthetics that I established. In the same way that James Cameron went from Terminator to something like The Abyss, which I know is still like science fiction, but it's a different kind of movie, you know? I wish that would happen with Neil Blomkamp, but that's where we're at with, you know, it's unfortunate. But I still like District 9. I hope maybe one day we'll get District 10. I would like to see District 10. Okay, let's go with the Pat Avatar. Oh, shit. There you go. Pat Avatar is back. Let's close out the webcam. All right. We got the Pat Avatar back. All right, cool. Now we're in classic box office Addict. I mean, it is one of those movies that when you see it once, it's pretty much enough. You don't need to see it like 3 or 4 times. I agree with you. District 9 is like watch it once kind of movie. I don't totally disagree. But it takes major intelligence to shoot a fight scene like that. Oh, you're talking about I agree. I think he is a smart filmmaker. I just don't know if he's a great storyteller writer. But Neil Blomkamp is a smart filmmaker. I think there's a lot of intelligence in the aesthetics of District 9, and that's what makes it interesting. It's a very visually interesting film, which is what's very cool about it. Thoughts on Naruto? Not a big fan. Some good episodes. Haven't watched most of it. Kind of went past me, I guess. Alright, yeah, well, Wonder Woman is just bad. I mean, I agree with you, District 9 could have been better. I agree that it could have had more of the documentary stuff. It could have went further with the details, like the cat food and how the aliens live. I agree with you. I think it could have been more epic. But they were limited, you know? It was a $30 million movie, and a lot of that went to the special effects. Maybe... Do the Right Thing's an amazing movie. So is Malcolm X. Hopefully, you know... unfortunately, once they gave Neil Blomkamp like $100 million, he made fucking Elysium. So, I don't know what to think with that motherfucker. Yeah, that scene where he says, you know, when I love that, it's a great line delivery. He goes, "No, sir, I will not shoot that thing." When Sharto Coppola like, "No, sir, I will not pull the trigger." There's such humanity in it. He became so human in that movie, you know, because at the beginning you don't really relate to him very much, even though he is real. But then those moments have such humanity to him, his suffering and his reaction to that stuff, and that he doesn't want to shoot these things, and that he doesn't like being used like that. That is a real... Yeah, Wonder Woman's kind of an awful movie that no one talks about how fucking awful it is. It's, like, terrible. I can get him not liking Lucas Hedges. I understand. I think he goes a little too over the top with it. And I love Manchester by the Sea, despite its terrible editing. But I don't think Lucas Hedges really hurt the movie that much at all. But I can see where he doesn't like Lucas Hedges. But I do think he exaggerates it so much. But yeah, just that guy that he suffers so much in the movie, which I love body horror. Body horror is one of my favorite genres. It's why I like movies like Akira so much, is the body horror elements. It's why I like Clive Barker books, or why I like Hellraiser or so on. To Cronenberg, I mean, that's the whole thing. The body horror elements are so awesome in that movie, and you really feel for the guy because just like I said, pulling your teeth out, and that he has to keep he has to go deeper into this world. He has to go hide in District 9 because he has nowhere else to go, and it's the one place he doesn't want to go. That's clever stuff. That's clever stuff. I think Neil Blomkamp definitely needs to work with other writers. I think he's a talented filmmaker, but he needs someone else to write scripts. Also, the acting in his movies has gotten worse. Every movie he's made since then. The acting in Elysium's pretty mediocre to bad. Sigourney Weaver's horrible. And I think she's in Chappie. I think who is it? Jodie Foster. She's horrible in Elysium. Like, the acting started to get back because District 9 has really good acting. Even the little minor roles are very well directed. Yeah, it's like The Fly, and that's a good influence to take, except he said, well, let me do The Fly, except let's do it with an alien. And he becomes an alien insect creature. And then he has to help save these aliens because there's nothing else he can really do because he gets fucked up and put in the situation. That's good stuff. That's a good idea for a movie. The fact that he was able to take a short film that was a mockumentary about aliens in South Africa and turn it into a feature film with a narrative at 2 hours, and it doesn't feel like he's stretching the premise. There's actually so much to that premise that he could have done more with it. All right, so let's get to the box office. Climax opened 121,000. That movie's not going to do well here because, of course, it's not. If Beale Street Could Talk did not do very well from Barry Jenkins. Mary Poppins Returns is pretty much done. Let's see where Ralph Breaks the Internet's at, which I believe passed the first Wreck-It Ralph. So 520 million worldwide. That did decent. Vice continues to be a bomb. $47 million, $60 million budget, $66 million worldwide. Talk about a movie that's just kind of a disaster, despite all the Oscar nominations and all that. Moving up. Don't care about any of these. Glass continues to perform very well. 109 million domestic. It'll end up somewhere, I assume, around 110 to 113 million. 243 million worldwide. It's about to pass Unbreakable. Of course, not adjusted for ticket price inflation. So with the $20 million budget, although once again, I said if this had been a great movie, Glass would have made 400 million. Bohemian Rhapsody, which just won 4 Academy Awards. What the fuck? $52 million budget, 870 million worldwide, major hit. This one for best film editing. What the fuck? That movie is terrible editing. Apollo 11, the very critically acclaimed documentary, made 1.6 million in 120 theaters. That's a pretty damn good opening. Nice average of 13,000. Cold Pursuit, 1.6 million, starring Liam Neeson, 46 million worldwide, not doing that well. A Star Is Born, which won the Oscar for best song. Is at the end of its run. This is in a home video now. 212 million domestic, 429 million worldwide. Huge hit, $36 million budget. Bradley Cooper pretty much is untouchable right now. The Upside, which has turned into a hit, straight up. The remake of the famous French film. 102 million domestic, $37 million budget. This is really the biggest film for Bryan Cranston, where he's in a lead role. And for Kevin Hart, this is a big moment because of all the controversy, and he's bounced back. The director of Divergent, but also the very fun Limitless and The Illusionist. This is a big comeback for him as a director. So yeah, very successful movie. It's held so well with the $20 million opening weekend. Every week it's had very small drops for the most part, especially those first few weeks. And now it's made over 100 million. So it was a good idea to remake this into an American film because it's become a hit, because it's very much a crowd-pleasing story. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is coming off a Best Animated Feature win for several people, especially Chris Lord and Phil Miller. is a $90 million budget, $187 million domestic so far, $362 million worldwide. I wish this could pass $400 million, but it seems like the foreign box office is just done. This should make $190 million domestic. I don't think it'll reach 200. I wish this film could have made 450 to 500 million worldwide. I think that would have made it a really big hit and guaranteed sequels. As of right now, it's just a modest hit worldwide. It did very well domestically, considering everything. And it won the Academy Award and all that. So, and you know, Phil Lord and Chris Miller bouncing back from Solo. Happy Death Day to You, not performing anywhere near as well as the first film. So far, $25 million domestic. The first film made $55 million domestic and $125 million worldwide. This film is way off from that total. It's at $54 million worldwide. This is from Blumhouse with a $9 million budget. It has a long way to go, but still, it should make a profit. What Men Want, starring Taraji P. Henson. Yes, the chick from Benjamin Button, I believe. Tracy Morgan's in it, directed by Adam Shankman. $55 million worldwide so far on a $20 million budget. Doing okay. Greta is another bomb starring Chloe Moretz. Has Chloe Moretz been in more bombs than anyone? Like Suspiria... Neighbors 2 was not nearly as popular as the first one. The Fifth Wave didn't do well. Dark Places. All of these. She was in The Equalizer. That did well. Carrie didn't do well. Kick-Ass 2 was a disappointment. Dark Shadows. Hugo was a bomb. Yeah, she pretty much hasn't been in any hit movies. I mean, I'm a fan of Chloe Moretz, but she is just not... She has no appeal to the public. Directed by Neil Jordan, the director of The Crying Game. Filmmaker I'm a big fan of. I love The Crying Game. I love Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is a phenomenal film. The Company of Wolves is great. The Butcher Boy I love. I love Breakfast on Pluto. Very underrated filmmaker. Michael Collins. Interview with the Vampire I think is really good. Like this guy a lot, so maybe I'd like this movie. I love Neil Jordan. I'm a big fan. I even liked his newer films. I mean, the Brave one kind of sucks, but another Death Wish clone. But yeah, don't know why they released this in 2,400 theaters. What the fuck were they thinking? There was no way this film was going to make a lot of money. Terrible release. Isn't It Romantic? $4.6 million this weekend. $40 million. Rebel Wilson continues to not be much of a box office draw outside of the Pitch Perfect series. Fighting with My Family. $4.6 million. $14.9 million so far. This is a pretty big bomb that stars Nick Frost, Vince Vaughn, The Rock, Lena Headey. I mean, yeah, this just is not doing well. Green Book continues to get a huge boost from its Best Picture win, and it is a crowd-pleasing film. $23 million domestically, budget. $75 million domestically, which is impressive. Starring the great Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali. I finally got his name right. From Peter Farrelly, the director of Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin. There's something about Mary. But what's even more impressive is the international box office on this thing. $112 million foreign. I don't even get it because this is such an American subject matter and such an American movie. But $188 million worldwide on a $23 million budget. This is a full-blown hit. This should pass $200 million. It's going to make over $80 million domestically, and it's going to make over $200 million worldwide. With that budget, even if they put a lot into the Academy Award boost, although nothing's as embarrassing as Netflix putting $60 million into Roma, and it still couldn't win Best Picture. This is a great run. This is out of the Best Picture nominees, outside of like a Bohemian Rhapsody or Starborn. This is one of the more profitable ones, and it was made on a very low budget. So overall, even though it just got good reviews, it has become the audience film that people said it was when it premiered at Venice. It has continued its trajectory all the way to Best Picture, like a lot of people predicted. It didn't win the WGA, so people didn't think it had a chance. But then when it won Screenplay that night at the Academy Awards, it's kind of like, oh, Green Book's going to win Best Picture. I was saying Green Book was going to win Best Picture for a while, though. Roma I think, had no chance, even though Cuarón was a lock for director. But this film's done really well. $188 million worldwide on that budget. It is very much the driving Miss Daisy of its time. Lets you know if you make movies like this, they can still make money. And I prefer seeing movies like this make money than a Bohemian Rhapsody, because I find that to be much more cynical and in bad taste. Do I miss Terrible Lizard? We still talk. I talked to him yesterday, so I don't miss him because I see him. So no, I see him all the time. Still, even with the budget of 11 million, that's still a bomb. If the budget's 11 million and then you got to include marketing and all that, and it was released in 3,000 theaters, and then you have to know that the theater keeps a percentage of the ticket sales. I mean, it's not a bomb in the sense that they're going to make their money back eventually on home video, but they haven't broke even with this movie, even with an $11 million budget. It's not doing well. Roma deserved it. I don't like Roma. I haven't done my review yet, but I was not a fan, even though I love Alfonso. Big disappointment for me. Beautiful movie. Let me make that clear. Beautiful cinematography, beautifully directed, beautiful, gorgeous film. But one of his weakest films. I feel like Gravity and that are his two weakest films, and that's the one he won Best Director for. I like all of his other films better, including Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which I think is far superior to these last two films. But I'll have to save a lot of that for the Roma review. Although I do like things about Roma, let me make that clear. But, yeah, I don't get what Spielberg's doing with that he doesn't think Netflix movies should get Oscar nominations. That is a weird Spielberg thing. That's like him not doing DVD commentaries. It's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you sometimes? And I love Spielberg, but goddamn, dude, what the fuck? I don't know what he was thinking. That's not gonna fly. They're going to have to nominate Netflix movies. I think that it's a play on him to probably get theater chains to like him. Roma is very boring. Extremely, especially that first hour. It gets less boring in the second half, but that first hour, holy shit, man. Wow. Just flat. Just flat that first hour. Meaningless first hour, too. Meaningless. I don't know what, I mean, it's just a weird thing. I think he's probably just getting theater owners to like him, to help him out with his movies, and he sees that streaming is taking over. Well, Chappie's mainly, wouldn't it, I mean, it's a lot of RoboCop, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of that and other movies from the 80s. I mean, it's quite a few. I wouldn't say it's just one. I mean, yeah, but, you know, Alfonso Cuarón, all of his films are great, perfect filmmaking. He's a master of the camera and transitions and all that. That I know, you know, but it's the story. Is the story great? And I would argue Roma doesn't. I don't even think it really has much of a story. It's one of those slice of life movies. You're going through a photo book. It's a window through time. You're supposed to live through his memories and all that stuff. But it's like, man, you had a really boring fucking childhood then. And this is a really boring, predictable, cliche story I've seen 1,000 times. And in the second half, when he does that flashback with that guy, and especially the ending at the beach, I think that stuff's interesting. But the first hour where she's just cleaning the house and the father comes home and they're just hanging out, and people are like, don't you love movies like that? Don't you love Fellini movies? Don't you love Bergman movies? They have stuff like that. Yeah, but there's a lot of things going on in those movies. Implications. And things going on the surface and the conversations that the characters are have that mean a lot more. Roma doesn't really have that. It's just watching normal people live their normal lives, which I think that's exactly what he was going for. And I have liked films like that. But to me, all I kept thinking about was this reminded me of a film that I think is extremely overrated, My Journey to Italy by Rossellini, I think, where it's just like, yeah, just seeing people in beautiful locations just interact in a very naturalistic way and talk about things in a very naturalistic way is not inherently great. It's like if you just make a film where characters have very naturalistic dialogue and it's almost a docudrama and you shoot it with beautiful cinematography and you make it 2.5 hours or 3 hours, it's just called a masterpiece. Just straight up, it's a masterpiece because it's so realistic and all that. And I don't, well, it was cliche. You may not feel that way, but I've seen that movie 1,000 times. I don't know where the hell you don't see that. All of those things have been done in movies a million times, especially like television movies. A lot of that stuff in that movie I've seen in Lifetime movies. Hundreds of them, actually. Yeah, the dog poop too. The thing with the dog poop. I mean, some people love the movie, some people hate it. It's a very divisive film. I'm not going to deny that. Those types of films are divisive inherently. That type of genre, the art film like that, the slice of life art film. And I've loved movies like that, so I'm not going to act like I have just a hatred towards it. I like that, but I do think a lot of films like that get overpraised. When somebody really doesn't want to write a good screenplay, when they really don't have a... Yeah, Patterson's sort of like that, I think. I think that. But it's a problem with movies like that. Jim Jarmusch, I mean, yeah, that's his whole fucking filmography. That's why my favorite film of his is Dead Man, because I think that that movie transcends those issues. But that's a complaint people have. Some people like those kind of movies, and I've liked movies like that. It's a weird thing to go into. That's the problem with Roma, where you're like, well, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's well made. It's well acted. It is executed pretty damn flawlessly, but if you're not emotionally invested or compelled by it, then what are you supposed to do? You admire it like a beautiful piece of art, a painting or something, but I don't feel anything for it. So it's hard to say I liked it. When I'm watching the movie for 2 hours and I just don't give a shit, when I'm just bored, it's hard for me to appreciate those things that clearly he put a lot of effort into executing. Where I do think Children of Men has a great story and great characters, where I do think Prisoner of Azkaban, I think A Little Princess from the 90s is such a better film, or And Your Mother Too, which I thought Roma was going to be more like. I couldn't fucking... It's mainly the first hour of Roma that's my issue. It's not the whole movie. But, yeah, Ghost Dog's good, you're right. Ghost Dog is really good. Dude, I don't want to talk about the superhero movie genre. Superhero horror genre. Like it in concept. Yes, you make a good point. Miyazaki does do that well. Even though I think My Neighbor Totoro kind of suffers from that. I agree with you. Kiki's Delivery Service, yeah, totally. Maybe not his epic films like Princess Mononoke or something like that, or Castle in the Sky, but his quieter films, or like a Porco Rosso, yes, I totally agree. He does a phenomenal job with that. And then Takahata, he made that film Only Yesterday. That's a phenomenal example of that. Yeah, so I do like it, that type of movie, but I think Roma was weak in that regard. Really just because I don't think the characters were that compelling, and I don't think his dialogue was that great. And I've always think he's had issues with dialogue. Gravity's biggest problem is the dialogue is fucking awful throughout the whole movie. It's just got awful dialogue. I remember when I first watched it, I'm like, can this just be a silent film? Because every time anyone talks in this movie, they speak retard. How much money will Captain Marvel make? Probably $600-700 million. I imagine. Probably typical Marvel money. Maybe more Ant-Man. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, a lot of friends of mine have Kiki on VHS. I love Kiki's Delivery Service. I think it's a wonderful movie. Yeah, Children of Men's one of my favorite movies, easily, of the last 10-20 years. I think all the stuff he's getting now, he was ripped off. I think he deserved Best Director for Children of Men. Children of Men deserved Best Cinematography, film edit. All the stuff that his movies are winning now, I would have given to Children of Men all those years ago. But you know, it's what's happening. It's like Guillermo. You know, I love Del Toro, but he didn't win for Pan's Labyrinth, so they give it to Shape of Water. Even though Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth I love so much more. No, Children of Men's not that schmaltzy. It has maybe near the end it gets a little schmaltzy, but for the most part, no, not at all. And then you know, Iñárritu, I actually thought Birdman was a return to form for him. I thought he had kind of really dropped off since his first film. And I like 21 Grams. That's a good insight to have, Will, because I feel like a lot of people don't get that about foreign movies. And nobody discusses that. The subtitles. There's this idea that foreign films are somehow more intellectually stimulating inherently than American films. That they're better movies and they're smarter and the dialogue's more natural. But a lot of the time it's just because you're reading subtitles. You're reading it, so it's taking a little bit more effort to pay attention to it. So thus the acting seems a little bit more natural and the dialogue seems a little bit more compelling. But what you don't realize is that it's really not that. It's just because you're reading it. I figured that out when I was a teenager, because I was like, man, why are foreign films? They all just seem so smarter and more natural. And then you start to realize, like, oh, It's just because I'm having to read subtitles. Because if you actually look at the dialogue and think about it, you're like, that's not a great line of dialogue. I just had to read it. That doesn't mean that there isn't amazing foreign films. Like, I'm not saying most of my favorite films are foreign films, but this idea that they're just all smarter than American films and all that, a lot of it is just because of subtitles. It's like the anime sub dub thing. It's like, no, a lot of the reason you like the sub better is because you're reading it. So, and you don't understand Japanese, so you can't even tell if that person's giving a good performance or not vocally. So it just seems more intelligent. And that is the thing with foreign films that I think a lot of people ignore. That a foreign film can have terrible dialogue, but it doesn't seem that way because of the subtitles and because you don't understand what the actors are saying. You don't know if they're saying those lines bad or what. You don't even really get the words. So you're going to be more judgmental of a film in your native language. And the cultural things. You don't understand the cultural aspects of certain foreign films. So then you think that makes it more interesting because you're so ingrained in American culture, things that you see in an American film might be boring to you. But you just don't know any better with the thing that's from this other country. So I think people, yeah, it took me a long time to get over that. That just because I was reading it, it seemed more intelligent. But then I would actually look at the dialogue for a lot of films that were praised. And I was like, this actually isn't that great of dialogue. It's actually really cliche dialogue. It is hard to tell if the performance is bad completely. I disagree, Bathory, that you can tell bad acting in other languages. I don't understand. I don't agree with you on that. I don't think the brain, maybe you have something that other people don't have, but how would you be able to know that if you didn't completely know the language? I don't think that you could. I don't really think that's possible. Because really, when you listen to a lot of Japanese dub acting, it's so over the top and they scream and they yell and it's not that great. We just praise it because it seems like it fits. And a lot of the reason, and this is true, is because in anime, the animation is suited for Japanese voice acting and for Japanese. So it feels more natural than dubs do a lot of the time. Because doing a dub for an anime is very difficult because the animation was made to be done in this language. And it was written for that language, so you're trying to translate it. And that's why it's very difficult to write a script for an anime dub and to get actors, because then they have to talk really fast to try to keep up with it, and that is difficult. That's why when something like Death Note or Cowboy Bebop comes out, you're like, how the fuck did they pull this off so well? But I think a lot of anime vocal performances get overpraised in Japanese just because people just assume it's better acting because it fits it more. It's really not that that's a great voice actor. It's just because it's suited to the animation. So it's going to be better just because of what it is. But I don't think that makes them a better voice actor. I think America has the best voice actors in the world. You know. I think we have I think the greatest vocal probably that I've ever seen voice actors in America. But it's hard to translate anime. But a foreign film, you can usually tell the acting, like a facial acting. Like, yeah, you watch Oldboy and you're like, this guy's a good actor for sure. But still, you're reading the subtitle, so your brain is putting a little bit more effort in. So it just seems a little bit more intelligent to you. It wasn't that the dialogue was out of place. It was just very basic dialogue. You know, like, I love you, son. I love you, dad. Or like, oh, this woman's cleaning the floor. There wasn't even really that much dialogue in Roma. Characters didn't really talk about anything. I can't think of one compelling conversation in that movie. Like, the people they're not interesting. And perhaps that's the point. Because the Japanese acting is supposed to be very exaggerated compared to English. Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree with you that it is supposed to be over the top, but that doesn't mean it's good just because that's the Japanese thing. And, you know, you like it, but that doesn't mean, like, this makes it good or bad. That's the difficulty with it. What really is good or bad? It's a perception thing. It probably is bad from a Japanese point of view from someone, but it's always good for us. What are you talking about, Bathory? Like, do you know anything about voice acting in America? We have the great Billy West Have you ever watched Futurama? The Simpsons? Are you kidding? The Simpsons has the greatest voice acting cast ever assembled in the history of... You're completely wrong. That's like a really ignorant statement. We have easily some of the greatest voice actors that have ever existed. Like, what? Did you not watch the Looney Tunes? Have you not watched, like, any animated film in the last, like, 40 years? Have you not watched any cartoon show? Did you ever watch Batman the Animated Series? Are you telling me that Mark Hamill's a bad voice actor as the Joker? Are you telling me Kevin Conroy's not the best Batman ever? Like, what? Seriously, it's like, huh? Yeah, yeah, Billy West is terrible in Ren and Stimpy and Futurama. You're right. He doesn't know what he's doing at all. Frank Welker's not great in all those shows he did. Like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, if you're talking anime, you might have a point because anime is very, once again, it's very difficult to translate. But if you're talking voice acting in general, no, America clearly has. No, it's not versus. I just don't know if she's seen that stuff. For all I know, Bathory's just an anime fan and she never watched Ren and Stimpy or Tiny Toon Adventures or Freakazoid or Batman the Animated Series or Samurai Jack and all these shows with phenomenal voice acting. She might have just not seen them. So I don't know. Yes, we have a big population and people, there's probably more voice actors here because of that. That's fair too. And that we're a melting pot of cultures that multiple people do voice acting. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking anime, you might have a point. I don't disagree with that. If you're talking about anime, yes, there's a lot of cheap dubs in anime and bad voice acting. But in general, America has some of the best voice actors across the board. And the examples are endless. I mean, if you just watch The Simpsons alone, Dan Castellaneta and Hank Azaria are both phenomenal voice actors. And do like a dozen characters that all sound completely different. And it's all done with the voice. There's a difference between the voice actor and then an actor getting hired to do a voice for a character who isn't a voice actor, but it's just an actor performing a voice for a movie. And this is the problem with some of the Miyazaki movies, too. They just hire actors that aren't voice actors to do a dub, instead of hiring a professional voice actor. Because a professional voice actor is somebody that actually knows how to do things with their voice and how to perform vocally, like Mark Hamill. It's not always just an actor who's going on to get tired to say dialogue. So there is a difference for sure. Hank Azaria is not, Bruce Willis doing a voice for Over the Hedge. Those are different things. And I don't like how many films hire actors who aren't voice actors just to do a voice for an animated movie. Well, you said VAs, so that meant voice actors. So that's why I was confused what you meant. Because voice actors, like, we have amazing voice actors. Well, yeah, because animation celebrated more as a mainstream thing, especially the 2D animation. Anime's become the biggest movies there. And animated films here, we don't ever really praise the voice. I mean, think about how wonderful that guy's voice is as Aladdin, or Robin Williams' performance. But we don't celebrate that guy who voiced Aladdin, the boyfriend from Full House, and how charming his voice is. It is weird. We don't hold the people to the same standard. They're not celebrated here like they are in Japan. Which is upsetting, because to me, like, Billy West is a national treasure. I mean, that era of Howard Stern he was on, all that stuff. I mean, it's... Billy West is so good. The guy who voices Archer and Bob's Burgers and all that stuff is just amazing. I mean, he does the same voice for everything. Was it John Benjamin or something? He does he's Coach McGurk, but his voice is incredible. Peter Cullen. One shall stand, one shall fall. I like Spirited Away's dub for the most part. I think Haku's very good. Chihiro's a little weird in the dub. Mononoke does have a good dub, though. The problem with Kiki and Castle in the Skies dub is just they're old. I think that was before Pixar oversaw them. Christian Bale's pretty good as Hal, I think. I think that's a good performance. John Benjamin, yeah, he's amazing. Oh, it sounds unemotional. Huh. I mean, the voice acting in Ghost in the Shell is weird. It's very flat delivery, which I think was how they thought to deliver it. Also, sometimes the dub can become iconic in how bad it is. You remember the original Kira dub before they redid the dub? That's just hilarious now, and it's worth watching for the novelty of it. Sometimes the dub being bad can be really appealing, I think, and fun. Oh yeah, Harry Shearer is some fucking amazing. That's the thing. Like, yeah, some of the when I think in my head the best voice actors of all time, they're almost all American. The people who have done all these iconic voices and characters. I mean, yeah, Coach McGurk. It's like, whose voice would be better than his? You ever get overwhelmed by movies? If you do, how do you get over it? It's weird. It's like a breakup. I don't know. Do you ever get over that girl? I don't. Not sure. Oh yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Fuck. What's his name? It's funny, if you hadn't said Seinfeld Putty, I would have known his name off the top of my head. But yeah, when he first did that voice in The Emperor's New Groove, Patrick Warburton, his voice is so good, and then he does the voice acting on the Venture Brothers, the Dr. Venture. His voice is amazing. Yeah, I said Hank Azaria early on. Oh, the entire cast of The Simpsons is like another level. Oh yeah, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That's the thing, it's just one after another. Aqua Teen has brilliant voice acting. Trey Parker's voice, and even though it's all the same voices, his voice for South Park characters. That's all. The two best dubs I've ever seen, yeah, are Cowboy Bebop and Death Note. Those are the two best I've ever seen. Yeah, he's the can of beans in Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, those are great voice. Oh yeah, Stephen Bloom is Spike Spiegel. It's like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. You know, straight up. Awesome voice. And Cowboy Bebop's so Western influenced that it almost just works better in English in my eyes. It's not it's not that Japanese. I mean, it's not that it doesn't have Japanese elements, but it's so influenced by Western stuff, Western films and music, that it's like, yeah, it just works. Mike Judge, yeah, the voice of Hank Hill. Are you kidding me? It's incredible. Tim Curry, fuck yes. All these great voices in movies, yeah, and shows, yeah, totally, 100%. I mean, even just going back to Looney Tunes, though, the voice of Porky Pig, the voice of Bugs Bunny, the voice of Daffy Duck. I mean, those are the standard. I mean, it's so. Chris Pratt's great in Lego Movie. I agree. Well, I've always just been a big fan of voice acting. I've always wanted to do voice acting. It's one thing I've always wanted to really. To become a character through your voice, and then you don't have to be seen on camera, so you can do whatever you want and really get over the top with it. Oh yeah, Steve Bloom just does the same voice, and I don't give a fuck, except for that Digimon he did where he's like, Takatorman, I just sound like Stitch, but like peanut butter. That's a funny voice. He calls him Takatorman. Which is actually maybe my favorite Digimon series, is that one. But, why you guys always picking on me, man? That's Meatwad. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop's like next level. I don't know how the fuck that dub's so good. I guess they knew the anime was good and they just took it so seriously, like, the dub to Cowboy Bebop's so fucking good. It's bizarre how good it is. That's probably true. When actors understand the culture of the show, they can give a better performance. I legit think you would be good at narrating audio. I also agree that even though a lot of people hate my voice because I have a very high voice, I think my delivery verbally is very good. I think verbal communication and delivery things is one of my top skills that I have. A lot of things, when I write them down, they don't come off as good until I deliver them. But I can do different voices, and I'm very good at impressions. So I've always wanted to do voice acting and stuff like that because I think I would be good at creating a character in an animated show. I probably would never use my natural voice. I would just become another character through the voice. But that's what's fun. That's why that's why something like Sesame Street or the Muppets is so great. I mean, yeah, there we go again. The Henson Company, those voices for the puppets, the Muppets they do and stuff like that, like incredible. Kermit's voice, Frank Oz's work as Yoda. Digimon Season 3 is clearly, yeah, it is. Digimon Season 3 is the fucking shit. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, just bringing the Henson stuff into it. How brilliant. I mean, Frank Oz as Yoda, holy shit. Incredible. I can do Stitch, Ben Shapiro, Quentin Tarantino. I can do Gary from Pokemon. I can do Michael Fassbender in I can do weird ones like Michael Fassbender in Steve Jobs. Pretty much I can do an impersonation of anyone if you spend enough time. A lot of the impressions I do are of people I know, like friends. That's where a lot of characters come from. Like Dana Carvey's based a lot of his voices off friends of his. You meet someone and then you can do an impression of them. There's people I work with or friends of mine that I do impressions of, and then they are characters I want to use in something later. But I can do if I focus on it enough. No, my voice is sort of high. It is a nasal voice, and I think a lot of that has to do with that I smoke a lot, and I probably talk through my nose a little bit too much instead of talking through my mouth. Because because I understand how to speak better in the diaphragm and all that with singing and such, but I talk through my nose a little bit too much when I should be talking through my mouth and from the core and breathing up and talking that way. Every Kurosawa movie's great. There's a lot of. I mean, I can do Yoda, but who the fuck can't do Yoda? I can do Elmo, but who the fuck can't do Elmo's voice? There's impressions I've tried for years that I haven't been able to get. But I'd say my Quentin Tarantino impression is my best impression ever, though. I think I have the best Quentin Tarantino impression of all time. And that's probably because I already talk like Quentin Tarantino. So when I'm exaggerated and very happy and excited, I just become Quentin Tarantino. But the most negative comment I get on my videos consistently is I fucking hate your whiny voice. I get that more than I don't like your commentary. I get that more than you're stupid. I get that more with I disagree with you, you're racist. The one I get since the beginning is I hate your voice. I like the video. Yes, there is. There's a lot of technique to do things with your voice, yes. Just like a great singer. Very much so. But the one the thing I get, across the board is I hate your fucking voice. I still get it. I remember on my Good Will Hunting video, nice voice retard. Yeah, Homer Simpson's a very unique voice. It's impressive. Nick Casanel is fucking amazing. Seeing him do it, you're like, God damn, dude, you're incredible. But yeah, that's the comment I get the most. And it still kind of stings because it's like there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, I think the deadpan's what makes the videos funny though. Like the dating advice video. The deadpan delivery, I think, is what makes that video work. I think if I tried to be energetic in that video, and maybe it's just how I deliver it sometimes. I have a monotone voice. Oh yeah, Tank, the opening to Cowboy Bebop. Dun 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 dun. Doom 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 doom. It's great. It's fucking amazing. Tank's brilliant. Well, no, I'm just saying that's the negative comment I've gotten the most since I've been doing YouTube is I fucking hate your voice. I've gotten that, like, you're so unemotional with this. It sucks. Your voice is whiny. You sound like a faggot. I get that all the time. It's a lot of times people are like, man, I liked your video, but your voice... Fraser Danger even told me his wife, he tries to watch my videos with his wife, and she can't sit through them because my voice is so unappealing to her. And I remember when I was on the High Council, that was a big thing in the chat, was everyone saying that I had a soy boy voice, that I was filled with soy and estrogen. I need testosterone because my voice doesn't I don't have a lot of bass to my voice. But who cares, really? Adam Driver. That's funny, considering I'm best friends with Adam Driver. And he sounds even more like Adam Driver than I do. I mean, I have a delivery I've worked on. Because I used to be really high and excitable. Like, I used to only be energetic and talkative. I've really calmed down over the last few years. If you guys would have known me when I was in my early 20s, I talked a lot more like this all the time, man. And I was like, what the fuck, man? And all that. Like, I was really squeaky. You know, I've gotten a lot more quiet and pulled back as I've gotten older. I used to have the worst laugh ever. I had the most embarrassing laugh you've ever heard. I worked on those things, though. I worked on getting a better laugh, and I worked on speaking better. Yeah, I flipped it now. No, I'm not the therapy. I'm, Oh, I know. I'm just saying that's what people said, that I got a soy boy voice. Or yeah, that, it's feminine, but it's like, okay, then don't watch the video, man. I don't know. I mean, Naked Ape has an awful voice, but I love his fucking video, so I don't care. He sounds like fucking Leafy, but it's like, who gives a shit? You know, not everyone has that amazing, deep British accent voice. Not everyone's Mahler. I think your voice on Box Office Addict is fine, and some videos are, although it's too monotone. I agree with you. I think the recent videos have been too monotone, but that's because I've been reading from a script over the last few videos I've made. And reading from the script, it's very difficult for me to perform my voice. Like, on Box Office Addict, I'm just talking. That's why I think the dating voice has it's very funny, because that's me talking to you guys. But the problem with a lot of my recent videos is that I had to write them out, and they get a little too monotone, like the happiness video. And when I'm reading the script, it's hard for me to perform when I'm reading. I'm not very good at that. When I've been in movies, too, I'm not good at reading a script and performing. A lot of my videos, I didn't used to script my videos a lot of the time. I would just write outlines for them and then talk. But recently, I've been scripting a lot, and I do think it's made them... That's the difference between the Good Will Hunting video, the private lessons video, and then the dating advice video, and how the dating advice... Or the rant video on movie audiences. That's the tough part. So I'm having a hard time with that. Not being monotone. When I'm reading from a script for a video. It's tough. It's tough for me personally to perform. I mean, yeah, totally. Yeah, the British YouTube voice, which immediately gives you a higher IQ, even if you're saying dumb shit. Yeah, I'm a little sick of it too. The British or Australian YouTuber who gets overpraised because of their voice. I mean, Sargon's been milking that cow for years. And Sargon watches this channel, so he might be hearing this right now. But Sargon, Carl, you've been milking that for years. Mahler's fanbase needs to learn that not everything is about debating. I guess. I mean, it depends on the content. Mahler's content is very much about discussion and arguments. So if you're a Mahler fan, then the content he's speaking of, probably. But in general, do I think everything's about debating? No. No. Plinkett, yeah. What's wrong with your face? It's amazing. Why does Sharkfoot keep appearing in these movies? It's ridiculous. I don't know. He needs to stop, though. He really does. Alright, let's go to the Lego Movie 2, the second part, which is not doing that well, especially compared to the first one, which made over $400 million and $257 million domestic. This is at $91 million domestic, $153 million worldwide, $80 million film. Not a bomb by any means, but a major financial disappointment. Especially when you consider how popular the first one was. Well, it doesn't matter if Sargon's from East New York. He still has a fucking British accent. Like, like, he doesn't live in New York, right? He lives in, like, he's not doesn't live in America. I mean, he might be American, he might have been born here, but he has a fucking accent anyway. So. Yeah, they do. They do have nice accents. I agree. It's like a really good Southern accent, the Matthew McConaughey accent. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Isn't YouTube about arguing and debating? Those people that usually say that, they're making an argument there, right? That it's not always about debating. They're arguing with you about what we should talk about. So they're debating by saying that. I mean, to me, that's fucking YouTube. It's people arguing about shit in the comment sections, in video responses to other YouTubers. I mean, that's what the fuck it is. So maybe everything is about debating. That certainly seems like where we've gone as a culture over the last few years. Is arguing about everything. Alita Battle Angel, $7 million this weekend, will not make $100 million domestic, 43% drop. $170 million budget from director Robert Rodriguez and writer James Cameron, writer-producer. $350 million worldwide, doing well in China, even though it had a steep drop in China. $278 million foreign. With this budget and the marketing, I just don't see how this broke even yet. Because how much they take in China from the ticket sales, they take a huge chunk. And that's where most of this box office has come from. So at $350 million worldwide in that budget and how bad it's doing domestically, I don't see how a sequel's going to happen. That'd be a bad idea. Unless they could make it for like $90 million, then maybe. But yeah, this film's expensive, and I think it cost more than $170 million. I believe this film cost $200 million. So it had a better than expected opening weekend, but it looks like it's going to probably wrap up around maybe $90 million. It should be able to make over $400 million worldwide, but I don't think $500 million is going to be very easy to reach. And even then, that's probably just the break-even point. So, this is, critically it was mixed. It's not really catching on at the box office. Maybe you could blame the release date for that. Perhaps they should have waited a little bit to release this. I think this might have played better at a different time of the year, than an early year movie. But yeah, unfortunate, because it's not like I have any ill will towards this movie. People seem to think I have a problem with this movie. I don't give a shit. But yeah, it is what it is. Although it's probably Rodriguez's highest grossing film, but that has a lot to do with how big of a movie it is. I liked the first Spy Kids when I saw it as a kid. I probably wouldn't like it now, I imagine. I doubt I would enjoy it very much now. And I did not like the sequels. Let's talk about the box office Addict film of the week. Tyler Perry's A Madea Family Funeral, which I believe is the last Madea movie, as he has said. $27 million. Man, how the mighty have fallen. Let's look at these Madea films, right? Medea's Family Reunion, the first film in the franchise. $63 million domestic on a $6 million budget. The playwright Tyler Perry becomes, even though it had a $30 million opening weekend. Then he had a few films that did just, decent, but then, like, Why Did I Get Married did very well. None of his films do very well after opening weekend because one audience goes to see his films. But then Madea Goes to Jail becomes his biggest film, $41 million opening weekend, $90 million domestic. He makes his films on such a low budget, and they do well on home video. Why Did I Get Married 2 did well, $60 million. My favorite film of his is this film, For Colored Girls, which did not do that well. Then we get up to Medea's Witness Protection, which made $65 million, a $25 million opening weekend. Then, where's the Madea? Madea Christmas made $52 million. And then we go to Boo, A Madea Halloween, which made $73 million domestic. This film actually did really well. $20 million budget. I have no idea where that budget went. Then one of the ones that was the featured box office addict film, one of the first box office addicts, was this movie. It was the first box office addict to ever pass 1,000 views. Which I think it has about 5,000 now, was the Madea 2. $21 million opening weekend. Didn't make nearly as much as the first film, $47 million. It cost $25 million. You watch this film, it looks like a movie that cost $500,000. Then he did Acrimony and Nobody's Fool. But here he is back with, I believe he says, the last Madea movie. Don't know the budget of this. I'm sure it's like 20-something million. Madea, now we're in a funeral. We went through Christmas, Halloween, prison, witness protection. Now we're at a fucking funeral. The funeral of Tyler Perry's career, in a sense, even though his career has still been rather prominent. And he's great in Gone Girl. How did that happen? So the history, here's where we've come. 2 years later, box office Addict. We talked about Madea Halloween, the second one. And here we are with The Family Funeral. $27 million opening weekend. That's really good. That's not as good as the jail. Is Madea like the Ernest movies? You know, like Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Christmas, Ernest Scared Stupid. Holy shit, Medea's Ernest. Jesus Christ. Mahershala Ali was shockingly bad in Alita. Yeah, it is weird. I've heard that. No, Tyler Perry's never been funny. But I do like him. I don't want people to think I dislike Tyler Perry. I love how he's used the free market and capitalism. I think he seems like a really nice guy. I like him in Star Trek, the movie. I like him in Gone Girl. And I think he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with Tyler Perry. I hate these movies. I mean, I've watched them and laughed at them. They're funny in that they're so badly made. He's such a bad filmmaker. But I don't hate Tyler. I don't have this hate for Tyler Perry. It's like, hey, dude, you make movies and people go to see them and they make a lot of money and you're rich. Good for you. I have no problem with somebody being rich and making money off a demographic that wants to go see his work. Kudos to him. He's smarter than Spike Lee. I'll give him that shit. I mean, I respect this shit way more than Spike Lee's career for the most part. Straight up, I'll take this over fucking Black Klansman. I mean, really, I mean that shit too. Like, I don't care if Spike Lee's a better director technically. Like, it's easy to admire Tyler Perry. And what he's done with his career. I am shocked that he hasn't taken more young directors under his wing. I have complained about that in the past, that he doesn't use his resources to produce these movies and hire talented black filmmakers and to be in these movies, that he's always has to be in them and always has to write and direct them, and the aesthetics continuously stay bad, and the acting's typically mediocre. It's unfortunate. Because he could have used this power and money to really make really interesting, great movies or different films. He could have been the guy who produced Get Out. It didn't have to be Jason Blum. You know, he could have kicked off Jordan Peele's career as a filmmaker. He could be that guy, but he never wants to seem to be. He never wants to take any role like that, which is unfortunate because I would like to see those films. You know, he could have been the one that started Ryan Coogler. I think Black Klansman's pretty bad, but people like it. I kind of enjoy Sardonicast. Even I can agree to podcast. Yeah, the podcast doesn't work at all. It's a total disaster between the three of them. They have no chemistry, and they don't know how to do a podcast together. Adam should have just done a podcast by himself or with his friends. His friends that he does the Adam Watches Movie stuff with is so much better than him with Ralph and Alex. But, you know, Ralph could have done his own thing. I get why they got together. They're like, we'll be a super group. It'll be a super podcast. We all have big movie channels. It just doesn't work as a podcast. They don't have the chemistry and they can't get the flow to work. I mean, do I like what Michael Bay has done? Not really. But I don't have a problem with Michael Bay's move with him making money and being successful. I don't have a problem with that. I don't like Michael Bay. I don't think he's nearly as likable as Tyler Perry is. I think Tyler Perry's a pretty likable guy. He seems like a good dude. When I met him, Black Panther hadn't come out. When I met Spike Lee years ago, that was when I was like 22, 23. That was years. He was making Old Boy when I met Spike Lee. I don't know. I mean, it was what I expected, but even a little bit worse, that he was so simplistic and so aggressive and egotistical. It was very upsetting because it was like, wow, Spike Lee, holy shit, you know. And they had been showing his films, so I had rewatched some of his great films that I really loved his early work. His first few films I'm still a fan of. And I like 25th Hour. I like Pain and Gain. For sure, I like The Rock, Pain and Gain, and Bad Boys. I like all those movies. Oh, Chris Stuckman's just cringe in general, man. That guy makes me cringe. And I only live like an hour and a half away from him now. Yeah, I just don't like Michael Bay's movies. I don't think he makes good movies, but I don't have a problem with Michael Bay, really. Like, I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, he's successful. I mean, I wish he didn't ruin franchises. That I'm like, you know, Tyler Perry, these movies were never going to be great. Transformers could have been a great action movie. You know, that series could have been fun. Bumblebee's a lot better than his Transformers movies. You know, Ninja Turtles coming back should have been awesome, but it got Michael Bay'd. You know, that's the unfortunate thing that he was behind the Friday 13th remake or Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, the things that he's touched as a producer are the things that sting the most for me. Because it really sucks. It's not like Michael Bay doesn't know how to shoot a movie. Is Old Boy the worst remake of all time? Probably not. It's definitely a bad remake, but I don't know if it's the worst remake of all time. There's some pretty bad fucking remakes. Like, I mean, did you see, have you seen any of the horror remakes of classics? I mean, Poltergeist was a really bad fucking movie, and they had Sam Rockwell, and if you can't make it work with Sam Rockwell, then you can't make it fucking work with anybody. Yeah, and then when he made a video responding to Red Letter Media making fun of him, where he's like almost crying and defeated because they made a joke about him, it's like, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, I saw Bumblebee recently, actually. I just watched it like a week ago. Yeah, it sucks because I really wanted new Ninja Turtle movies, and I think it was a great franchise to bring back, and unfortunately, it had to be Michael Bay. I hate that because I really like the Ninja Turtles, and I wanted new Ninja Turtle movies. Wow, Collider did something shitty? Oh my god, say it ain't so. Oh yeah, I also like Bad Boys 2, which inspired a lot of stuff in Hot Fuzz. Well, that's the problem with Chris Stuckman, is that he's clearly a smart guy. Dude's not an idiot. Let me make that clear. And he clearly likes movies. But he's that middle ground critic. He'll never say anything too insightful, too much. He'll never be risky. He'll always almost agree with the Rotten Tomatoes score. If the movie's critically acclaimed in Rotten Tomatoes, he'll give it a good review. If it gets bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, he'll give it a bad review. He never goes against the grain, almost never. All of his analysis videos, like on action movies and stuff, it's all like basic shit you've heard people say if you hang out with your friends and talk about movies. He's about as generic vanilla as you can get, as a online film critic. But there's always been film critics like that. Those film critics always existed. They were always popular. They always had their separate little thing. I mean, there was always the guys that weren't Siskel and Ebert that were popular like them, that were just boring. There's always been those critics. He's just the YouTube version of that type of critic. That doesn't make him bad. I just find his stuff, there's nothing there every time I watch any of his movie reviews, and I've watched a lot of them. I'd say at least 100. It's just the most boring, generic shit you've ever heard. And he really just says what's in the... he really just says what's said on a Rotten Tomatoes consensus. And I feel like that's it. I don't think he goes much deeper than that. I feel like if you hung out with the guy and talked to him about movies, he would probably be really cool. Like, it's not that I wouldn't like to meet him. But his movie reviews, Jesus Christ. I don't know how I mean, I guess it is important to know where the middle ground is, so you know where to step over it or to go below it. He's also just the kind of critic I get annoyed with, where, like, he just talks about his experience and then leans on subjectivity so much so that he doesn't take any criticism when he does have an outside opinion. And, he tries to keep his reviews to 5 minutes. He cuts all the dense material out, anything he could talk about. And you know, he's not really that funny or charismatic. I mean, it's a lot of things. He's just oh, Jeremy Jahns is way better, and I don't think he's a good critic either, but I'll take him over Stuckman any day of the fucking week. Yeah, broken clocks are right twice. I mean, it's just the fact that Red Letter Media exists, you know? He is inarticulate. That is a great point, Blood Money. I agree with you. I don't think he's a very articulate guy. That's really the issue with Stuckman. He isn't good verbally. He got very lucky that when he came up as a YouTube critic, it was a good time to be a YouTube critic. But you're right. He's just not good at articulating his points. He's not good with words. He's not good at forming a sentence to explain what he means or making a point and all that. He's just not very good at it. It's shocking he's so successful when he's actually so bad at it. But he seems like a nice guy, you know. I mean, I want to make that clear. He's not an asshole, and that goes a little bit for me. So Madea, $27 million. Good opening weekend. Nothing really negative to say about that opening weekend. That's a solid opening weekend. Should be able to make 50 million. Yeah, he isn't funny, no. I think Blood Money hit it on the head though with the inarticulate. I think that's correct. And to me, that's like the key to being a verbal reviewer, you know, like to talking in your views. I don't think he has that. Yeah, Red Letter Media, those guys are extremely articulate and they're just funny and likable and interesting. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with not being good verbally. I mean, some people are better in the written word. Like Tarantino, he can't spell. If you read a Tarantino script, he can't spell and he has piss poor grammar. The dude dropped out of school in like 8th grade. His grammar is horrible. And he can't spell, but you hear and he mispronounces words all the time, Quentin Tarantino. But you hear him, you know, but he talks and he's amazing. He's got this amazing mind and he can explain things wonderfully in his enthusiasm and he's terrific verbally. So like, he's an amazing talker. That's why he's a great director. I think he probably talks to his actors very well and his crew and explains things very well. But if you read Tarantino's stuff, even though they're like, this is a good script, he's not, he's a great writer. Let me make that clear, but he's not very good at writing. But it's different skill sets, you know? Some people are great at both. Some people are just great at one. Yeah, Rich Evans is just, he mispronounced the word, but he's a sharp guy. I used to think Rich was stupid, but he's not at all. How did Train Dragon reduce its budget considerably with each sequel, so why can't Lego? I don't know, because the thing with an animated film on, is that you're supposed to, because you build the world in the first movie, every film's supposed to get cheaper after that. Because they already built the world in the computer, so the animation should get cheaper. That's why the Transformers films' budgets stayed pretty modest because of that. Yeah, it's just the thing, because How to Train Your Dragon, 165 million, then 145 and 129 million. The animation looks better each movie, because they already did that work 10 years ago. I don't know what the Lego movie, I mean, probably because they have to pay the voice actors more. You probably have to pay Chris Pratt a little bit more money than you have to pay Jay Baruchel, is my thinking. So I think that's probably why the Lego movie didn't get any cheaper, was because they have to pay the actors more. Because Chris Pratt in the first movie was not an A-list actor. This was like before Guardians of the Galaxy. Now Chris Pratt's an A-lister, and he's not going to do a voice for like probably a few $100,000 anymore. What I mean by that is he is a great writer. Like, he can write dialogue and stories and all that, but he's not good at writing, as in he doesn't know how to use grammar. He's not good with grammar, and he doesn't know how to spell. Tarantino's bad at spelling and grammar. Like, he would fail an English test. You know, he would fail, but he knows how to write characters and he knows how to tell a story. He's a good writer in the sense that he can write something compelling, but he's not good at the technical side of writing, which are two different things. That's what I'm saying. He can't write, but he's a good writer. It does sound like a contradiction, though. I get what you're saying. I don't know why the budget's so much higher in the second Lego movie. I really don't know. It shouldn't be higher. It should be like 70 million at the highest. I don't know why it jumped up so high. Maybe they had production issues. I don't fucking know. I don't know why the budget's so high. It should be lower than that. You're right, though. I agree. I really like Killer Joe, quite a bit, especially the chicken scene. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, the third film in the series, is doing very well. Had a $55 million opening weekend, made $30 million this weekend, 45% drop, which is a little steep for an animated film. Let's go through this series one more time. The first film was a surprise hit and very critically acclaimed. $43 million opening weekend, made $217 million domestic. Great word of mouth. Made about $500 million worldwide. Then we have the second film, which was very acclaimed and popular. Didn't do as well domestically. About 40 million less, but made 621 million worldwide and had a lower budget, so it was a success. It came out quite a few years ago. We've had to wait for these sequels. It's funny. We had 4 years, but yeah, now it's 5. But is a popular animated show on Netflix. Here we are at 97 million. I could see this film making 150 million domestic. It's really the international box office that's going to be the success for this one. It should be able to make 500 million worldwide. I don't know if it'll make the 621 million worldwide of the second movie, but it should be able to make 500 million. And with the budget only being 129 million, which is pretty cheap for a fucking animated movie, like damn. If this makes 500, 600 million dollars, it's a success and a successful trilogy. And I think it can definitely make 600 million dollars worldwide. So, all films have over 90% Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a successful animated show. So with the Kung Fu Panda franchise, outside of the Shrek franchise, I suppose, Kung Fu Panda, DreamWorks, and How to Train Your Dragon is the most successful franchises from DreamWorks. So there you go. I'm gonna go down here and see if I missed anything. Let's just look at the box office so far this year, because yeah, there's things like Aquaman that I don't see on here. Aquaman was late 2018. Dragon Ball Super Broly, 103 million, very successful. So I think the film's budget's like $8 million. And then you have The Wandering Earth, which is the biggest film so far this year, with $655 million. Obviously, that's a Chinese film, and they always have a film every year that comes out that makes like $800 million or some shit. And Aquaman's at like 1.1 billion still. James Wan to have 2 films over 1 billion. Not just making a billion, but over that. 1 billion, 141 million. Huge hit. $333 million domestic. So he has 2 films there with over $300 million domestic, and 1.5 billion and 1.1 billion. And then the Conjuring franchise, very successful. The Insidious franchise, and he started the Saw franchise. What a fucking career, man. Like, holy shit. To be behind like 4 fucking franchises that are all fucking, no, like 5 now? Yeah, because like, yes, Saw, Insidious, Conjuring, Fast and the Furious, and then now a superhero franchise, Aquaman. Motherfucker's involved in 5 goddamn franchises, and they're all making bank. Like, holy shit. If you want to have success, hire James Wan. Like, even this look compared to Lego Batman, 148 million, 91. Huge drop. Even just those ones. Overdid it with the Lego movies. So far, How to Train Your Dragon's a little bit ahead of the second movie. Split's pacing ahead of Glass, and of course, Aquaman has already surpassed Batman v Superman, which is hilarious. Aquaman by himself outgrows the Batman v Superman movie. How the fuck did that happen? Captain Marvel's coming out here in a few days. Still no reviews yet from Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who I'm actually a fan of. They made one of my favorite movies of the last decade, Half Nelson. And Sugar's a very good movie. I don't like It's Kind of a Funny Story, but I love these first 2 movies. I own them both on Blu-ray. Big fan. Oh, and Mississippi Grind. Shit, forgot about that movie. This is a great movie. Very underseen with Ryan Reynolds. Very much like a 70s movie. And Ben Mendelsohn's in it. This is a really fun, good movie. Big fan of them. So they're my only hope with Captain Marvel, is I like Ryan Fleck. Very talented filmmakers. And then you have Us coming out from Jordan Peele's follow-up to Get Out with only a $20 million budget. I think this is going to be huge. So we have a lot of exciting things to come down the pipeline. Like, talking about Captain Marvel, talking about Us, I'm very excited about. Then you got Tim Burton's Dumbo. And then you have Pet Sematary, Shazam. We're not too far off from these. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, James Wan is the shit. Like, as a successful filmmaker, I like seeing a success story like that. And he certainly has it going for him. Oh, you've never seen How to Train a Dragon? No. I like the first one a lot. The second one's good too, but no, it's like it's been an hour and 50 minutes. 3 hours. The fuck are you smoking?
Why was it?
Time's not linear, you just perceive it that way. Time doesn't exist. Well, I see you trying to keep tabs on me while I'm away.
I always got.
That's scary. It implies some scary shit, and I don't like it.
It implies love.
Love is scary. Don't give me that look. I will smack the shit out of you. And I want people to hear it. I want people.
It's on the internet. Proof.
That doesn't mean anything. It's satire. That's what YouTubers say. It's satire. If it's satire, it's okay. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
You want to risk that in today's current climate?
I'm getting me too'd, I guess.
Yes. Everyone, me too.
Somebody's not getting loving tonight.
Oh, I'm gonna bring that online. Come on now.
I'm just saying.
I think we're gonna need blood money to, like, confirm for everyone that this is a genuine, loving relationship. You're not portraying it as such.
Don't ask, because then blood money's just gonna be like, they hate each other. You're setting up a joke for them. You're just gonna be like, they fucking hate each other.
No. Okay, well, whatever blood money says isn't true.
Yeah, you're just gonna be like, they fucking hate each other so much.
Not all the love.
If Pat's wins the wedding, I don't fucking know.
2020.
2020. The next election cycle. Fall of 2020. We'll do a live stream on it.
Talked about it.
I did talk about live streaming the wedding, yeah. Which is cringe, but in only the best ways.
Anyone who brings a gift has an invitation.
Did you say invitation? What the fuck is an invitation? That sounds like some science fiction movie, like invitation.
I've been in surgery for 4 hours. Oh.
She wasn't getting a surgery. She was helping with a surgery of an animal. Let me make that clear. You sound like you were just getting like... like you were in a surgery and you're like, oh my god, I just got out of surgery while he was doing a live stream.
I bounced back really quick.
The doctor's like, wait, you're with the Please Rewind guy? Shit, I love Pat.
You're allowed to eavesdrop.
See, now he's saying I hit you.
What?
He's
All
saying...
her bruises. The bruises were from a dog.
Now she's calling me a dog.
No.
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Women are definitely scary. Oh, Craig. No.
I'd rather watch Stick's live stream of the... where he doesn't wear a shirt. What if I didn't wear a shirt and I had a leather jacket on like Six then? Then would you watch the wedding? If I was like Sticks and Hammer?
Pat smells of shit. No. He smells of the cologne I buy him.
Yeah, it's a cologne called Shit.
Shit.
It's French.
It's my own personal brand.
Yeah.
It's a She Wine original.
A She Wind original. For fuck's sakes.
My vape lick. God damn.
I didn't steal it. I used it. I borrowed it. I'm gonna give it back. I didn't steal it. I was laying in bed and it was the one that was closest. It's in the fucking bedroom. What the fuck are you talking about? It's in the bed. You have eyes?
It's tucked in.
What's tucked in?
The vape liquid was tucked
Okay,
in.
let's make that clear. Movie fans can have girlfriends. They can have fiancés too. which is what I have, I think.
The ring's on.
Hey, you fell asleep during like the last 20 minutes of District 9, so we're gonna have to rewatch the last like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, the mothership leaves. That's how it ends. And he becomes an alien.
You know,
And he makes his wife like a little metal flower.
to all the subscribers, do you know the shitty part of not having seen a lot of movies and having a fiance who has seen like every movie? He ruins them. Spoilers.
I'm just telling you, fell asleep. The mothership leaves and he makes a little metal flower for his wife. And then he's an alien at the end. Boom. District 9. He becomes an alien. How it ends. Life is happening. She does sound sexy, but not quite as sexy as Ralph's girlfriend. I didn't know there was a competition going on here, Craig.
I'm offended, Craig. You were on my good side, now you're on my shit list.
That shit list, that cologne that she uses for me.
Oh my, no, the vets do that. I hold the animal while they jerk them off, basically.
No, she did not like The Last Jedi. She's the one I saw The Last Jedi with, and we did not like it. That was a weird, when we saw The Last Jedi, we're sitting in the theater, and like, cause I was hating it for all these different reasons, and you were just like, cause what's great about her is that she just summarizes things in like a very simple way, to where like I try to get all analytical, and she just comes out, she's like, that was fucking boring.
The whole time.
I don't talk the whole time. She's using hyperbole. That's not fucking true.
I didn't actually even say that. He just surmised it, and no, he doesn't.
I didn't. We watched District 9 last night, and I talked like 3 times. To our goddamn movie.
I did not say. He said that you talk the whole time. I didn't say anything. I said that you don't. I've got your back, okay?
I hope so.
Stop spoiling, exactly. No, not a fan of The Last Jedi. Do like movies, yes. Love, I don't know. I don't think I get as much out of them as all of you do, but I do like them.
Well, my favorite thing is when you talked about Friends. You're ranting about Friends, and this is something I would never think to say, but it's brilliant. She's like, Chandler, he's supposed to be the funny one, right? And I go, yeah, and she goes, then why isn't he funny? I'm like, god damn, I wish I could say that to Matthew Perry. It's fucking brilliant. Weren't you supposed to be the funny one? Yeah, then why weren't you funny? It works in so many ways. Okay, quit hijacking my show. Get the fuck out of here. I know, you're just a girl, so everyone's gonna be like, hey, there's a girl talking. It's the internet. I bet you Craig's masturbating right now as you're talking.
Thank you, Craig. That's very flattering.
She doesn't even know who the fuck Brie Larson is, let alone care about what Brie Larson says. I envy her. She doesn't even know who Brie Larson is.
Caused a fight. There are no fights here. There are debates.
Yeah, we actually don't fight. We just debate about something. We never have a fight. Because people think we argue a lot, but it's like we're just trying to have like a discussion. It gets heated. But we're not like, we don't yell at each other. Like I don't like yell at you or insult you really that much or anything.
No.
We don't have fights like that.
Just the bruises.
I mean, yeah, I kick your ass. I kick your ass when we have a fight. That's why we don't fight anymore. What's her favorite movie? Unfortunately, it's probably like some shit like The Lion King or something.
Jesus Christ, man. Honestly, after thinking about it, I have to say probably my favorite one, the one that makes me the happiest, is Misty, Chincoteague Pony. As stupid as that probably is to you.
At least you didn't say like Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron or something, or like...
Don't get me wrong, I watched it a lot as a kid, but...
What do you think of Brie Larson's small ass?
Makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Thanks, Blood Money.
How did you know? I just felt it, Craig.
Nice way of saying fighting.
We don't fight. That's the thing people don't get, though. We don't fight. We really don't. Like, we don't get into fights.
See, Blood Money knows when he was here, he caught a few stray punches, and he figured out I have a mean left hook.
You know when, like, you're friends with someone, and you two would disagree, and have a discussion? You're not fighting. You're like, hey, dude, you're being a fucking asshole right now. You're not fighting. You're just, like, having a discussion about something where you disagree on things about it. She doesn't know who Mundane Matt is either. God, I'm telling you, she's not in this world. She's normal. She lives a normal life.
Yeah, big confession. I am a normie. I hate to admit it.
Don't tell.
It is.
I'm
It's true.
disgusted.
I'll own it.
My wife's a vet. She's a vet, okay?
I'm pretty much a doctor,
She's a doctor.
basically.
Did you get that blue apron tonight? I
Yep.
thought we'd make some creme brulee.
Yep.
blue?
Instructions are
Yeah.
on the fridge, you know?
Dude, the shit I took a few hours ago is hotter than Rose Tico. That's a fucking useless question. What is Madea Family Funeral gonna play? At the end, I'll finally play Madea for all of you who clicked on this to watch the movie. It comes to something when you can't even jack off in peace. Just let me do it in peace. Please. Please let me alone. Just leave me alone. Oh, fuck. Is that a picture of a hamster? Who the fuck is Jedi Patamon? Like, who the fuck are you? Did you just subscribe recently? No, I'm not being a dick. I was just like, who are you? Who are these new faces? New faces from the future. As Blood Money said when he was here, I remember what he did say early on. He said that I don't get a lot of couples. He goes, I don't get dating or romance and all that because he's like a psycho or something. And then he says, but you guys, I get this because we're both goofy and we're both very assertive. We like to be right. And it shouldn't work. We should be fighting more. But we kind of have a strength in each other that we feel like we're better than other people together, that we're stronger together. And that we like to talk shit and be goofy and have fun in that way. And I like your style too, Matrix. But he was like, I see you guys and I get it. And I've heard that before, that we have that dynamic. I don't know. Do you like her, Alex? This is a fake question. You did this shit before. You did this I'm 15 and I got a girl pregnant thing before. You're a fucking liar. This is not my beautiful sub. How did I get here? And the stream goes on and Craig's masturbating. And the stream goes on. Bathory doesn't like America. Well, we get along. I don't know what to say. Yeah. I don't know. We're like friends, but we're like that show Friends where they're all friends but they're fucking. I'm a psycho now. Hey man, you know, like Norman Bates or something. I mean, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'd hang out with Norman Bates. He's a cool dude. He owns a fucking motel. You know, it's like, hey dude, okay, you dress up as your mother. I don't care. I think you're a fine fella. He's a great conversationalist. People don't talk about that. Norman Bates is really engaging in a conversation. What the fuck is this podcast now? Oh, Blood Money, episode 2 of Beef Stew. I want to talk about Jurassic Park. Did you see the thumbnail I made? I sent it to you. I think it's great. Since we watched Jurassic Park recently, and we kind of had like a defense, and I've always wanted to do like a, because we talk about Spielberg a lot, and I want to do a Spielberg episode, but I thought let's just talk about Jurassic Park. Let's like just jump from the John Cusack thing and go to, which by the way, great pilot for the Beef Stew. But episode 2, let's just talk about fucking Jurassic Park. Is my I don't know if you saw this, Blood Money, but I already made the thumbnail, so it's gonna happen. It's like I already bought the condoms, so we have to do this now. Click. But there it is. The beef stew with Jurassic Park would be. Because I almost feel like we could watch it again since we watched it and had that conversation. I feel like we could have a second like watch and do a commentary or something and just say a lot of the shit we said, since it's a good way to do a commentary track is to watch the movie beforehand, then you notice things and then you can discuss those things when you rewatch it. Or we could just talk about Jurassic Park. And it could possibly lead into the Twilight Zone movie incident. Welcome back, Bathory. No stopping now. Yep, we're already here. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like Speed. When will we get the Jurassic World Survivor Edition? That's a great idea. Just throw a bunch of people on the island. It's like, who can live? Gets $1 million. And then it turns into like Predator, but with dinosaurs. Fuck, that's a badass idea. That should have been Jurassic World. Holy shit. Great fucking idea, Alex. Love it. And Chris Pratt's like one of the guys and he survives. It's like Battle Royale, but with dinosaurs. Because Blood Money, I think rather beautifully made the connection between Hammond's character being Spielberg and this theme park he creates and puts children in danger, his grandchildren, which is what Spielberg did with the Twilight Zone movie. Put children in danger because he was playing God as a producer, that he could do whatever he want and didn't care about the rules, just like in Jurassic Park. Hammond, who's not a bad guy, is a lovable guy, is basically playing God, creating these dinosaurs, which Spielberg is creating the special effects in the dinosaurs. And putting these children in danger, and then seems to be reflecting on the moral responsibility of that in that film because of what happened on the Twilight Zone set. Which is something I never picked up on in Jurassic Park, but it's totally fucking there. And even the conversation that Ian Malcolm has with them, it's like, you're selling it, you're bastardizing it. He's like, this. You could see Spielberg probably saying this to the people about what they were doing with this movie, that like, we were so concerned with making these CGI dinosaurs and making them look real, we didn't stop to think if we should, and the responsibility of the filmmaker and artist and what you do with big budgets and morality in art. But I definitely see that. I definitely see those themes in Jurassic Park. And I think it makes Jurassic Park a much more interesting movie if you think of Spielberg reflecting on a god complex that he might have with himself. It's a very interesting. And we also just talked about technical aspects that people have talked about before, but I want to kind of run off that theme with Jurassic Park if that's what it's really getting at. And because subtext is usually there, creative writing's there, you see those things, and I think those things are in Jurassic Park. For sure. And could be totally wrong, but I think it's very much there. Yes, Ryan Johnson, he's like a soy boy body snatcher. He's trying to turn everyone else into soy boys through his film. I could see that. Like, you talk about the soy boy voice, you hear Ryan Johnson talk, holy shit. Fucking Blood Money with the fucking... Yeah, right? The movie ends with a hero holding 2 sleeping children on either side of him, riding off in a fucking helicopter. The thing that killed the kids on the Twilight Zone set. This stuff is there. I'm sorry, this is not fucking coincidence. He is, through the film, saving the children that he irresponsibly let die to get a good shot in a movie. So to let this island to entertain people, because this is what people want. It's like, no, there's a responsibility to those things. And Jurassic Park is totally about that. And yeah, they ride off in a helicopter, and he has saved the 2 children because he understands why that was wrong. And then he follows that up, this goodbye to the blockbuster and what he's done as a filmmaker, and then reinvents himself with Schindler's List. That's the transition. I understand the responsibility now. Now I'm going to make this film that's important to me, and an important film, and a different career. I'm leaving these aesthetics, these ideas, who I was behind. It's great. Love it, yeah. It's a Raw Baker video ready to happen. The hidden depths of Jurassic Park. Every Hitchcock movie's good. Another question. Kind of like Kurosawa. It's like, I've seen all, none of them are bad. Some are better than others, but what are good? All. There isn't a bad Alfred Hitchcock movie that I've seen. Maybe there is one that's bad. I don't know. I didn't see one that's bad. There's ones I mean, there's ones I don't like as much as other ones. That is some next level shit, isn't it? It makes you rethink Jurassic Park, doesn't it? Makes you rethink the whole fucking movie and what it is. Because people always like, Jurassic Park shallow. It's just a special effects demo reel. Yes, but Spielberg was the one that approved the thing for them to fly the helicopter, even though it was against security and the law to be filming with the child at that time. That was all Spielberg. John Landis was directing that segment, but Spielberg was... it's pretty much been confirmed Spielberg was there, and that he left after the incident happened, and John Landis took a bunch of the flack. But Spielberg was the one that okayed it. Because that was his movie, essentially. John Landis did not okay, but then Spielberg okayed the whole thing. So yes, Spielberg is very much responsible for the death of those children. Which is fucked. But the fact that he made E.T. around that time, and now he fell in love with children, and then it made him want to have children after he made E.T., and then children die on the set of this movie. With this God complex, that we can do whatever we want with special effects, and then Jurassic Park being about that I can do whatever I want. And it's about commercialism and egos, and this evil villain guy, right? This evil villain. Hammond's really a villainous character, especially in the book, but they make him so lovable. He's the lovable old grandpa, you know? But he's this guy who's playing God with this theme park. And puts his grandchildren in danger because he's so certain that this is going to work. And then, yeah. And then all these people are in danger, and he thinks all these people are going to be on his side, and they're like, no, dude, that's kind of fucked up, actually, what you're doing. And he can't accept it. He's telling her at one point, well, like, this is gonna be better. I'll make it better next time. And she's like, there's not gonna be a next time, while they're eating the fucking ice cream. It's great. It's brilliant. It's a theme I think runs through the whole film. They're acting like they're talking about science, right? But really, they're talking about movies and blockbuster, which does involve science. Special effects are a science. Cameras, cinematography, lighting, all that. There's science to all of it. But they're talking about that responsibility. The scientists at Jurassic Park value human life. They are optimistic about humanity. They're not cynical, boring scientists. They actually take the moral of the situation very seriously. They very much care about what's happening. They're not just at first they're in awe of the dinosaurs, then they really start to think about it. There's a little nuance that it's so great. Before Ian Malcolm has that big speech with the big, now you're selling it scene in Jurassic Park, there's a scene where he's just pacing around when he's looking at the eggs and he's walking around. That's the moment that he starts to realize, this is fucked up. I'm gonna say something. It's processing in his brain and he can't. It's a great little filmmaking thing. You see it quietly. And then he knows, he's like, I have to confront this. And he kind of gets everyone over to his side. Yet at the beginning, everyone's kind of like in conflict with Ian Malcolm a little bit. He's kind of the outsider to the group. And then he wins them over. And then you find out he's actually a really good dude. That he does try to help the kids and sacrifice himself. And that he's not this, yeah, you're right. This is the whole fucking podcast. Yeah. This is why I wanted to do a podcast, do the second episode, though. I think there's so much good material on that. You cannot count the amount of times the luncheon scene is brought up in conversations about the state of modern plot. Yeah, for sure. I brought it up in my Alien Covenant review. That's one of my big lines. So it's for sure. And I think that's what Spielberg was doing when you made it. So it's apt. Now you're just quoting me. I said you said it, bro. Like, goddamn, bro. I said you said it. Fuck. I love Jurassic World. I love when I talk about that movie, how I describe that movie. I miss those long spoiler review videos where I would just talk about the movie for 2 hours and explain the plot. Those are fun. How I view movies is so fucked sometimes. But that's the shit, man. Alright, this has gone on long enough. This is actually a really long episode. This is the longest episode in like the last several. So thank you for watching. If you watch Box Office Addict, you're probably a box office addict yourself. And I'm not here to help you with that. I want to encourage it. Be addicted. I'll see you for episode 74. I appreciate the conversation. I thought this was a really fun episode. It went all over the place. But thanks guys. Thanks guys. You mean the world to me. So